science and spirituality are in fact one and the same thing. But before I get too sidetracked, I find that all those things that I was able to do then, I can do them now. And they come into these events, like for example, on the day that 2012 comes off, be exactly the same year as Christian prophet. Jesus. And yeah, I find that kind of just like all sort of things. In my name, which I'm going to wrap up with my introduction, our name is our virtue. There's a positive and negative attribute to everything that there is. And in our virtue, we identify with that name because we're all God. And God has many expressions. We call them different things: tree, the ground, rock, crystal, etc. And whatever our name is, we're answering to that. So that's something that we identify as our virtue of what we're here to do. And there's a positive and negative to all of them. So for example, all three of my names are Messianic. What my family was doing, I don't know. They actually drew it out of a hat because they couldn't decide. My sister was 6 years old and she prayed for a little baby brother. She wanted desperately to have a baby brother. That's just what she prayed for a long time. She got it. My sister's name is Karina. Her name means maiden spear. And she took her spear, her feminine energy, the maiden, and went into spear it and pulled forth out her brother. So to my name, we have Dominic. That's my first name. That means year of our Lord, Master. And I've noticed throughout my life that there's a positive and negative. In fact, close friends would call me Dom, and that's just saying Lord or Master. And I always thought it was funny because I'm like, every time you guys call me that, you call me your Lord Master. And so there's a positive and negative to being a master. Positive, obviously, is understanding that I am a master of myself and that I am a servant of others. Both at the same time, all the time, is the goal to be able to do that. So when you have the other half to the master's servant, you want to treat your servant as that's what the ultimate goal is for all of us, but in particular for myself, because that was my name. And the negative, obviously, is, well, what's the opposite of a servant? You have a slave, because a master has become a dictator. And there's been times in my life where I just, like, dominated over everybody around me. It was like, and sometimes it was because I needed to, but there were times where I did it in ways where it was like, like, we gotta get going, people. So it happens to the best of us. And my middle name, Joseph, represents, as the word adds, to add upon, to redo, to cycle. And there's a positive and negative to that. Throughout my life, sometimes as somebody as intelligent as I can be, I get mistakes, the same ones, over and over. And sometimes externally people would say, haven't you got a clue about that? It's not going to work. And then internally I'm going, why am I still doing this? It's Joseph with like, okay, da-da-da-da. And that's the negative aspect. I could keep doing that cycle over and over. So my choice is to make a positive affirmation. And when I was 16, I had experience with the Holy Spirit. I had a vision. And interestingly enough, to be able to have these experiences, I had one of the most awful things happen to me that I would not wish on anyone ever. But to obtain that, because I was not using my free will, divination, the path, or fate, was giving me some help, whether I was ready or not. So if I'm doing things negatively, it's going to give me negative feedback, trying to get me to wake up to the positive.